Hola, hola, hello ladies, welcome to my page. I'm super glad you're here. I'm gonna be teaching y'all how to do this bomb full glam look. It is JLO inspired bronzy glam for the summer. And yeah, I'm using my work wifey as my model today. So here we are. I'm using the NYX brow glue. I think it's what it's called. It's the crazy lifting effect. And I am saturating her brows front and back. If you could see, I was combing it back and forth just to make sure all that product is in there and making sure that I laid the hair down pretty flat. Liz does have very, very curly hair, and her brows, honestly, if you could see it for yourself, her brow hairs are long. So I feel like I had to just make sure that I laid everything down really nicely just to give it a really, really clean look. And she does have previous microblading, so this just made it a lot easier for me. After this, I decided to use my Dior Forever concealer, and I did use that to carve under her brows. And really, this is just gonna give it a cleaner look. I do like doing this to the brows before I even apply any brow powder, brow pencil, anything like that. But as I mentioned, Liz does have some prior microblading, so I didn't really feel the need to fill in the brow until later. But here I am just carving the brow out, and I'm making sure that I'm only using it on the brow bone. And I went ahead and took a fluffy brush, and I'm just lightly patting it in just so I don't lose that full coverage, and just making sure it blends seamlessly. And there we are, we're Poppy girls, so you already know Poppy, come sponsor us, let's go. After this, I decided to moisturize her face because we do need a juicy, hydrated skin. And I did go ahead and use one of my favorite foundations because it is like a medium to full coverage, and it is the NARS Aruba Radiant Long Wearing Foundation. Now, as you can see, the foundation does not actually match her skin, but we like pre-tanned her. If you can see her chest, she is tanned, and I did use the Sally Hansen tanning spray, and I pretty much just did body makeup on her. And yeah, I went ahead and applied that with a flat brush. I buffed it out with, a different brush. And then now here we are back using the Dior concealer. This one is in 3W, the Dior Forever. And I'm just applying this on all the points of her face where I want the fullest coverage to cover any dark spots, under her eyes, any hyperpigmentation, whatever. And I'm also using this in a slightly lighter shade in the foundation because we are going to be brightening her up in those zones. After that, I am using the Juvia's Place Bronzing Liquid. This honestly has been one of the products that I had bought while I was at Ulta, and I was like, wow, let me just try it on myself. And I loved it. And I loved it so much that I was like, I think I need this to make it, So here we are using her. I do like this product a lot. It's just very user-friendly. I love the tones. I love how opaque it is. And I am using this to pretty much, it looks like I'm doing surgery on Liz. I'm not gonna lie. It looks like I'm doing surgery on her. I apply this stuff everywhere because we're trying to snatch her up. If you think about JLO, we're going for like a full JLO glow. And she's always like bronzy, snatched, sexy. So I was like, yes, let's do this. So of course, applied it everywhere on her forehead, on under the cheekbone. I did apply it in her eye crease just because I do like doing that just to help me enhance any eyeshadow when I want to create some depth. And of course, I did hit her chin, her lips, everything, because we're trying to get her snatched up, no lies here. And now that we finished with the placement of this bronzing liquid, I do grab a fluffier flat brush. Actually, I don't even know what to call this brush. What do you guys call this brush? I'm sick. I can't. It's I want to say like a fluffy dense brush. That's probably the best way to describe the brush. But yeah, I go ahead and grab a fluffy dense brush, and I pretty much start stippling her face to blend everything out, as you can see here. So I go all over. I really pretty much start from the bottom up. I do like blending the chin and the cheeks out first. I do like to blend in the chin inwards towards the neck. There is going to be some swiping motions here and there, but really I am just trying to like blend with the stippling motion and a little bit of a dragging motion. I just like it to look really, really seamless. And like I said, we are creating that shadow, and really this is great if you feel like you have a double chin and you just want to like look snatched. Getting a fake tan, a spray tan, anything like that, and doing these techniques, you're gonna look a lot slimmer. Not saying it's gonna be like a full on like, you know, solution to your problem, but it does help and it looks bomb in photos. But yeah, here I am still continuing to blend this out. I am blending this out into her hairline. I feel like this is super important, especially if you have a slick back the way that Liz does. Honestly, always blend it out into the hairline. You just never know. You don't want it to look unnatural. So this is such a super important step. I am also, as you can see, doing the stippling motions pretty much everywhere because I'm also hitting that snatcheroony I got going on her cheeks, and it's just a stippling motion. So I think you can see it a lot better here. So yeah, just lots and lots of stippling. Stippling, I feel like it doesn't remove the makeup. You're not disturbing it, and it's not gonna lift off, so it just looks a lot better, and you're gonna get that full coverage. And I grab like a smaller fluffy stippling brush, I guess you can say, and I'm doing that same thing around her eyes and any of the smaller detailing areas. Since you can see that large brush that I just pulled up, it's just not gonna fit in the areas that I really want it. And like, I'm not trying to make this look muddy, so I'm focusing really on blending in place, literally where I placed the product. We're not trying to move anything. We're not trying to make anything muddy. We're literally just keeping it in place, as you can see. Now with the nose, Liz loves a snatch nose, and I'm like, okay girl, I'm gonna give it to you. So as you can see, I am doing a stippling motion, but it's also like a slight drag towards the eyes. You can see me like with a slight drag right there too. That is okay because I'm still technically stippling in place. So this is some good advice for you new makeup artists. If you don't know how to really blend, just stipple, blend, blend, blend. And yeah, you should get a really, really nice seamless look after that. I am going to be doing her nose, like the little bulb of her nose. I do like to do it there just to give it like more of a snatch upwards. And I am going to be repeating the same stippling motion around her lips as well. Like I said, the stippling motion, the blending, super, super important. And you don't want to see any harsh lines. Unfortunately, I did not have any sponges. So I just used my makeup puff for powder to blend out her concealer. And honestly, I actually really enjoyed the finish. I feel like this is actually pretty great. I understand why some makeup artists actually like to use it now. It looked really nice, and it didn't really move the makeup at all. I thought it was going to leave like fuzzies and it was going to look funky, but it did not at all. It does leave everything in place, and I didn't really get a lot of product on the actual puff. So I don't know. I get it now. I get it. But we did use that makeup puff to go ahead and blend out the concealer. As you can see, I'm literally blending all of the products where I placed it. I like a very, very clean look, and I'm very big on placement and technique. So y'all, again, just patting motions everywhere, as you can see. No dragging. Yeah, no crazy motions, unless you like that really, really natural look. But we're going for full glam, so please listen to me. Alrighty, so after I finished blending out this concealer, I pretty much took a look at her and I was like, I kind of want a little bit brighter. So I did use the Dior Forever. I used 2WP, which is a warm peach. It is slightly lighter than the 3W. So I decided to use a little bit there, and I did use a fan because I do like to let the concealer dry down a little bit just to give me that more full coverage. I don't like blending right away, so I did let it sit there for a little bit longer. And there she goes, checking herself out. She's talking about her chin, y'all. But she looks amazing, and she was really happy with it. And after I let that dry down some more, I pretty much just started blending that out again with the same puff. And again, this is just going to give me a little bit more brightness. I really just wanted to focus that under her eyes, just so she looks brighter and more awake. And it does contrast really nicely with the bronze that we did. So yeah, I really enjoyed doing that. We finished blending that out, and normally after this step, I just pretty much like to review the entire face to make sure everything is seamless. And then I pretty much decide to go in with blush right after that, since we already got the, you know, highlighting and contouring going on. So I did use the Huda Beauty. I think this was like something lychee. I forgot what it is. It's like a peachy tone. Very, very pretty. I also really enjoyed the Huda Beauty liquid blushes. They're very, very nice to work with. I was a big Rare Beauty girl, and I still am, but Huda Beauty really did that. But yeah, there I am, just making sure to go back in with that puff, and I'm just pretty much marrying those products together, just making sure we have like a nice blend. Now with a different powder puff, I went in with the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish powder, and I used shade number 2, and I just did like a really light amount of that under the eyes as like a preset. I do really like this powder. It does give like a really, really nice blurring effect. It is not the only powder I set with, because right after this I decided to go in with some Huda Beauty Easy Bake powder, and I used the shade Cupcake. I don't know, my brain just be working crazy sometimes, because I had a little peach going on in there, but now I'm adding up in a little pink. And I feel like that's really nice because Liz is more of like a neutral toned person. Even though we pre-tanned her, we used the darker shade in foundation, I just felt like this was gonna look really, really nice. I do tend to go more for like neutral shades when it comes to concealers and anything in the center of the face. I feel like it looks really, really good in photos, and I really just loathe and detest seeing a yellow under eye. Like, I cannot, please. So this is why I went in with the shade Cupcake for the Easy Bake powder. And I pretty much use this under her eyes. I go in the T-zone, and I'm just patting that in. I'm pretty much doing like a light bake on her, as you can see. I'm gonna go ahead and wipe that powder off later in the video after we finish doing her eyeshadow. But yeah, I make sure to get the sides of her nose. I feel like a lot of people get very, very oily there, and you know, I don't know, I just like that brightening effect. It looks so nice. I did use some of that Cupcake powder right under her cheekbone, and I did pat that in. I don't let it bake too long, to be honest, especially in this area. I don't like it to look too abnormally bright. But I did use some of that powder just to snatch her up there. And right after that, I went in with my Rare Beauty eyeshadow stick. And this is like this bronzy champagne tone, mostly bronzy. And this is my first time using this product, not gonna lie. And I did really like it. I did use a brush to pretty much disperse it all over the eyelid. And yeah, I pretty much massaged that all on that eyelid. And then I went in with some Fenty Beauty bronzer and started to apply that into that crease right on top of the bronzing liquid that we used earlier. And I pretty much went in with this product as like a transition. I do like using the same bronzer tones or the same bronzer I'm using all over the face on the eyelid, just to give it more of like a cohesive look. So it's just not, it's not shocking to the eye and to the camera. So it all just flows together, you know? So there I am using that same bronzer. I am going down the bridge of her nose, just going back to reinforce that product in any of the areas that we had used that bronzing liquid before. Now I am using my eSun Professional palette. It is a palette that I bought off of Nigel's Beauty Emporium. I do really enjoy this eyeshadow palette. I feel like it's a little bit similar to the Makeup by Mario in terms of the tones. But yeah, has really nice neutrals in it. Really, really dope. I did go in with a brown that has like more of a red undertone to it. And I did use that on her crease, and I am using that under her lash line as well. And then I did go back in with that Rare Beauty eyeshadow stick. I do really enjoy shimmers under the eye. It really does pop. If you guys haven't tried that, definitely do it. And I just went and grabbed the fluffy brush and pretty much started blending it out. And I did use a little bit of that bronzer that I used earlier on the lower lash line as well, just to give it that really, really nice smoky blend. It looks super, super fire, honestly. So yeah, pretty much repeating that on the other side. As you can see, I used that reddish brown eyeshadow and using that in her crease just to give her more of like a defined eye, I guess, more definition, more depth, and doing the same steps right under. Going ahead and using that same eyeshadow just to give her more of a smoky effect. Going back in with the Rare Beauty eyeshadow stick to get more of that shimmer, and then that nice quick blend right there with the bronzer. After I finished blending her out, I decided, hey, maybe we can fill in these brows a little bit. I'm gonna be honest with you, I really do like filling in the brows later on when the makeup is pretty much done. I don't like doing it before because I feel like brows frame your face. And let's say you do your brows and they're like aggressive before even doing like a full face or eyeshadow. It might not go for the look that you initially wanted to go for. So I'm definitely one of those people that like to fill in the brow a lot later. But literally, if you see me, I'm barely using anything. I pretty much just use a little bit to fill in any gaps. And after that, I decided to throw on some lashes. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I've had these lashes for a hot minute. And everybody's so natural these days that I say, you know what? This is the perfect opportunity to just go big or go home. And that's exactly what I did. And I went for these long volume lashes. I think I got these I bought these a while back. They might be from Amazon. I don't know. They didn't have a name on it or a number because I normally cut the lashes up, but they looked really good for this look, honestly. I like this like little spiky lash situation, and it really did open up her eyes a lot more. After that, I used a fluffy brush and I went ahead and wiped off all of that. Not wiped off, what the heck? I lightly brushed it off. I lightly brushed off the bake that we were doing earlier. And as you can see, she looks bright and delicious, super full glam. And I decided to go in with a little bit of a mineralized skin finish to blend out as a transition, pretty much, to blend out where you would see her bronzer and her concealer meeting. Not exactly like a bronzing powder. I'm pretty much just marrying the products together to give it a really, really light airbrushed look. And after that, I decided to go in with a slightly darker blush because I do like to layer my blushes. And then I went in with like a lighter peach tone for Makeup Forever. So the cheeks alone, the blush, I've probably used like 3 to 4 different blushes. Honestly, I feel like it just looks bomb in photos. I'm really not one of like let's just choose one blush person. I always layer blush, even on myself. But after this, I did add some highlighting powder into the inner corners. And then I decided to go ahead and set that concealer from earlier with the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish #2 powder. I just felt like under her brow bone was looking a little bit bright for me, and it was still kind of just looking dewy. So I decided to just set it in place, and it honestly it really did it for me. It really brought the look together. And yeah, after this, I just continued to highlight her. I did do the bridge of her nose and the little tip of her nose and her upper lip already. And yeah, this is me just going back and forth. I'm very much one of those artists that go back and forth. If I see something that I want to add again, I will. So here I am just blending out more under eye eyeshadow. And then I use one of my favorite mascaras. This is the Bad Gal Bang Lash from Benefit. This is the waterproof one. I honestly love this mascara so much, and I even have it in the blue and burgundy tone. It's so bomb, it's so lightweight, and it really be doing it for me. So I went ahead and did that and applied this to Liz, all on the fake lashes. I like to do mascara after to marry the real lash to the fake lash so it looks more natural looking, and it just pretty much does like a nice little tight squeeze. You can't really tell where your real lash starts and where the fake lash is. After this, just more mascara. I actually applied a really good amount on the under eyes. I feel like I wanted her to have like that twiggy look. Like I said, we're just doing full glam. Like we're just going hard. After the mascara, I jumped to lips. Initially, I had used a lighter color lip liner and it just looked too light and I just needed more. So I went in with the Makeup Forever Endless Cacao and I overdrew her lip. I know we contoured it earlier and it was just to give it more of like that pout effect. And here I am just applying that. So you can kind of see like the shadowing that we did from the contouring. And then where I'm applying the lip liner just gives it more of a pouty effect. It looks beautiful, honestly. I always like a darker lip liner, especially browns. And yeah. And like I said, I jump back and forth a lot because after I did the lip liner, I went to go do eyeliner. Like who does that? Me. Hello. So this one, I use a Danessa Myricks Color Fix Matte in the black shade. And I use that just to pretty much hide the lash line at the very top. I don't like for any like shininess to come through. And it just looks better, honestly. And I feel like we already did like this really thick volume lash. And I just needed a little extra in there, you know. After that, I went back to lips. And we did Honey Love lipstick from MAC. And I just blended that really, really well into the lip liner. After that, I decided to use my Anastasia Beverly Hills gloss. I really like these glosses because I feel like it has like a frosty finish. And as you can see, it's like very, very shiny and frosty looking. And it's so pretty and it's like not sticky. So yeah, I don't know. I wish people would request these type of looks more often. We just went into like the clean girl era and it just, I don't know. We just don't get to do this often. So yeah. Decided to do that. I did spray her with the Alba spray. It is a serum spray, so kind of like skincare. And I like this a lot when we do full glam because it kind of adds the radiance back into the skin and it doesn't look so matte. And I just loved it. So there's Liz admiring it. She's so happy feeling herself. And after that, I was like, you know what? I feel like we can add a little extra to the eye. So I decided to go back in and I added a brown eyeliner from Rare Beauty into her waterline. And I feel like it really just brought the look together. It gave her like a sexy, smizey eye after. And yeah. Now, definitely you can see that difference just from one eye to the next. I did do her lower waterline first. And then I said, you know what? We definitely have to tightline the top as well, just in case. So I had her look down and I pretty much lift the eyelid and just do a tight line up there, which it is pretty tickly, but I felt like it was very much necessary. And it does enhance the lashes even more as well. Look how bomb that looks. She's so like radiant, but full glam, gorgeous. And then, like I said, I'd be doing the most sometimes, so I went back in with that eyeshadow stick. And as you can see, it had dried down from before. So just adding more definitely added more sparkle, and it just looks so bomb. So yeah, I also decided to go back in with a little extra bronzing powder. Just a little bit, just to really make this look pop. Like I said, I'm trying to do that JLO glow, Jenny from the Block, radiant, bronzy glam. And I just went in and I pretty much smoothed out her hair and sprayed down whatever little baby hairs I needed to. And this is pretty much the full look. I really hope y'all enjoyed this look. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to comment. You can also direct message me, whatever you like. You can find me on all socials. I'm here on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram at Ashmar Beauty. And you can also find me on TikTok under Ashmar Beauty. And yeah, love you guys so much. Please like, comment, subscribe, all the stuffs. And I'll see you guys for the next video. Ciao, ciao. Bye.